Hey everyone, Bob the Tomato here. This is Joe Spataford. He's a concept artist at Big Idea. His job is to create many of the places and characters you see in one of our shows. Today he's going to show you how to draw Sheerluck Holmes.
Okay guys, here we're going to start drawing off Sheerluck Holmes. We're going to start off, it's Larry. So Larry is a cylinder shape or a really stretched out sphere shape. We've drawn Larry a bunch of times on these how to draws. Okay, so the first thing we do is we start off with the basic body shape, then we draw on the eyes. And like I've said last time, they're kind of like two egg shapes that are squished together. And just kind of indicate that. And I'm drawing very lightly, like always. I like to draw really lightly, so if I make mistakes, I can erase them real easily. I'm going to put two little circles in for eyes, and two little circles in there for highlights. Okay, so now I'm going to put in Larry's mouth. And how many teeth does Larry have? He has one tooth. Okay, so we got our basic body down here, our basic eye shape. I want to put a little bit of a lid on the top of his eyes. Okay, now Larry is dressed as Sheerluck Holmes. Now probably the easiest way to draw his cape is to think of it like three different little squares. One here, and then, well, we'll actually make that a little higher, one here, and then one down here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Three little squares. 1, 2, 3. Now what we're going to do is they're not perfect squares, so we're going to kind of come into them and make little diagonal lines that go in, because it's a cape. We're going to put one here, and one here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, and we're actually going to make one line that starts from the top of the cape down to the bottom. Okay. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we got to put his collar in. So his shirt collar. So we'll just draw a line that goes across the top and two little diagonal lines that go down the middle. That's where his collar comes together, and he has a little bow on. So we're going to put a little bow here, and then he's got these two little square shapes that come out of that. That's like his bow tie part. Then we're going to put another V shape right here. That's he's actually wearing a shirt underneath his cape, and we're going to put a line that goes down from the middle of that V down to the base of his body, and then we're going to put another little line over here for the other part of the shirt. And he's got two buttons, one here and one here. Now I'm going to just darken the bottom part of his body here, and now this character has got a little bit of a cap on. So here's the easiest way to draw the cap is think of it like a half circle at the top, and we'll just cut it off like a half circle. And then we're going to draw another half circle that's a little bit more stretched at the top. And then at the top, make kind of a heart shape up there. And inside that heart shape, I want you to make two little circles. And we're going to just darken that shape in a little bit. And we're going to put two other little lines that go up to it there. And we're going to, actually we can just make it one big line. We just go up to it there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to darken everything in real quick. Oh, actually, I forgot one last thing. Sheerluck Holmes, he's got a magnifying glass because he's like a detective. So I'm going to put a circle with a little square and another kind of squarish with a round end shape here. And then right in this circle, I'm going to put another little circle. And then I'm going to put another little crescent moon shape right in there. That kind of shows that the side of this circle has a little depth. Okay, so now I'm going to just darken everything up. Darken the upper eyelids first. And just work this eye first. And we go to the top eyelid. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing over here. Top eyelid, lower eyelid. The highlight. The pupil there. Okay, now we're going to darken in the nose. The nose is dark. Okay, now we're going to darken in the mouth. And the tooth. Side of his body. This side of the body. And we're going to work our way down here. We're going to darken in the magnifying lens that he has. Okay, we're almost done. We're working our way all the way down, darkening everything up. Darkening the lower part of his body. All right. Now we're actually going to save. Sheerluck has a lot of stripe patterns on his shirt, but we'll save that because this time we're going to do something special. We're going to put some color in it. I'm going to use markers. You can use crayons or whatever you'd like. But I'm going to start off with my light colors first because with markers that's sometimes pretty helpful. So I'm just going to kind of block in this light kind of tan shape for his jacket first. Just going to go over the whole thing. Here we go. I'm working on tracing paper, so it might not look the same as it will on yours. I'm sure yours will look awfully good too. I'm going to get the color of his shirt in there, which actually, I might leave that pretty close to how it actually is already. I might just leave it kind of white. And I'm going to color in his buttons. Real quick, there and there. All right, now I'm going to paint in his coat, and I'm going to start by putting this orange color in the side of the coat. All right, there we go, there we go. And I'm working in with markers. You guys can work with whatever you'd like. Crayons work well. Now, being these are markers, I have to let this dry for a second here, but I'll work the other parts of the drawing while it's drying. Get the color of the hat in there. Okay. So as that's drying, I'm going to start going on to his Larry's skin color, which of course is green because he's a cucumber. So let's start. We're going nice and green there. Just going all around, you know, find, okay, here we go, his nose. But let's go all around. Get all the green. And it's okay if you guys go outside the lines. There's nothing wrong with coloring outside the lines. You're artists. You don't make mistakes, you make improvements. That's what my art teacher said when I was a little kid. Okay, this is the bottom half of his body, so we'll put that green in there. Now, let's go back into those lines, because remember I said I was waiting for this to dry? Well, I think it's pretty well dry now. Let's see. So, gonna try to get some lines in there, and that's not quite dark enough, so we'll just grab this. That's coat. These are all different layers, so I'm not drawing all the lines at once. I'm not going all the way down. I'm just handling each little square by themselves. And it's kind of like a checkerboard pattern, back and forth. I'll put the same ones in this hat. Color in that bow on the top of his head a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this gray color that we have. We're going to color in, well, we'll do the eyes first. We'll do the edges of his eyes. I'm just going to smear it a little bit so it's a little softer. Maybe a little bit above his tooth. Okay, now we're going to put some of that gray actually inside this magnifying lens too, because that's made of metal. Put a little in there to indicate the glass. Put a darker color in too. Okay, now we'll put the edge of that in there. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the black shapes, which are things like his eyes. And his mouth. And his bow tie. And the last thing that I'm going to do after all that work is all that coloring. You kind of lose a little bit of the drawing, so I'll go over it one last time and just pull out the areas that I think I lost a little bit. Just the big areas. Important areas. Okay, so that's a really quick coloring job for Larry as Sheerluck Holmes.